Hello everyone. Again this lecture is continuation of implicit and explicit enhancements. So I am moving on to transaction code SC37, which is the transaction code for the function module, and displaying the SAP function module. Now if you want to check for implicit enhancement point in this program or in this SAP program, we will go for edit, enhancement operation, show implicit enhancement option. Now the point is available at the start of the function module or at the last of the function module. But whenever you are changing the SAP logic, whenever you are adding something into the SAP logic, you must be very sure, or you must have prior approval. So you must be very sure about those changes, because these function modules are using at several places. So whenever you are using the enhancements and modification, you are very sure about those changes. Now we will move on to explicit enhancement. Now for this I am moving on to transaction code SC38. I am displaying the same program. Now in the previous lecture we have discussed implicit points are always available at the start of the program or at the last of the program, but explicit points are available at any point inside the program. We have already discussed in case of implicit, point is already given by the SAP, but in case of explicit you have to create the point also, you have to create the implementation also. Now what we will do, we will create one explicit point, and after that we will create the explicit implementation. So how to create the explicit point? Suppose I am creating the explicit point after this statement LV underscore string, because explicit point you can create it at any place. So how I will create? I will go for edit, enhancement operation, create option. Now I will give some name to the enhancement point. Suppose ZEP underscore string operations. Now I have to give the name of the enhancement support. Now what is enhancement support? A enhancement support is a container for the enhancement point. In a enhancement support you can take multiple enhancement point. Suppose my name of the enhancement support is ZES underscore string operations. Now I will click on this OK button. I am saving this as a local object. Now see, this is my enhancement point, and this enhancement point is in this enhancement support. Now I am activating this enhancement point. Now I want to create the explicit implementation. Now the process for creating the implementation is similar to implicit implementation. Now I will go to enhancement mode. I will right click on this point. I will go for enhancement operation. I will go for create implementation. Now I will create another implementation. Suppose my second implementation name is ZEI string operation underscore 1. Now suppose description is explicit implementation. OK. Save. I am saving this as a local object. I am selecting the first one. OK. Now this is the space for writing the logic. Now this is the space for writing the logic in between the code. Now I will activate this enhancement. Now suppose here I will change the date. Control C, Control V. Now suppose I am changing the date to suppose 29. Now I am activating this enhancement. Now if I am checking for the output, now the output is coming according to 29 date. So this is the way by which you can create the explicit implementation. You have to create the point and then you have to create the implementation. Now one important point is that we have shown the implicit and explicit enhancements in our own created program. Now whenever we have implicit and explicit, in sometimes in those cases we have to change the SAP logic. So these things we have to do in the SAP program, but never change the SAP things prior. So for changing the SAP things, you must take some prior approval from the customer, because those SAP things can be used at several places. So whenever you are changing the SAP logic, you must be very sure about changing that logic. So this is all about the implicit and explicit enhancement. So the conclusion of this is that we told two important differences between implicit and explicit enhancements. Implicit enhancement point is always available at the start of the program or at the last of the program, but in contrast to explicit enhancement point are available at any place inside the program. In case of implicit, enhancement point is already given by the SAP, you only have to create the implementation. But in case of explicit, you have to create the implementation also, we have to create the point also, and we have to create the implementation also. Thank you.